fish off the creek. So a lot of fishing, morel mushroom hunting, Euper lighting, which are these rocks that have saltite in them. Then you look for these rocks with with a UV light, and they look orange.
Oh, that's cool. I'm going to see some of those.
I'll send you a picture. I got a couple. And then Petoskey stone hunting. I mean, it's just like, it's on to the next, Gypsy.
Man, that sounds like fun trip. Well, I know that's, I guess, the warmer time of the year to go to Michigan for sure. We did have a question in chat from Mike Chamberlain. Amanda, did you want to ask that, or did you see it?
Sure. Mike wanted to know what kind of depths do you get with the AT Pro?
Depends on the soil conditions, actually. If it's like really sloppy, like one day we'll go out in the slop, and the conductivity, I've dug, depending on the size of the the target, smaller targets. Grizz and I were just going on sound. The bullets that we found over the past, it's just, I've got a repeatable sound, dig it, 12 to 14 inches.
Wow.
So that happens with Dig Everything because, and same with the AT Gold. I'll try to be brief on this. I was watching some videos, and I forget the guy on YouTube. I'm so sorry, sir, if it's you, who has over 20 detectors, and he was curious about the power with a MindLab product versus other, and I love MindLab, but it's all about the amps, right? So the FCC has a cap on 30 amps. So most of them, it's just really just learning your machine and honestly just digging everything. I mean, you ask Gary. I asked Gary when I first met him almost 19 years ago, what's your secret, Gary? Gary Drayton. And he said, dig everything until you don't want to dig what you don't want. And to this day, I mean, y'all know, I dig everything. I dig the 22s and I dig the 22 shells out because if there might be some little ornate thing, like I always say on my goopy videos, percussion cap. But 99% of the time, it's a 22 or 22 shell. But get it out of there, right? No property is ever totally worked.
So true. And, when they say dig it all, and I know I skip a lot of iron targets. I really don't like to dig. I mean, I usually dig the larger iron. I could usually tell if it's just a nail or a little piece of a wire. But if you've hunted a property to death and there is a lot of iron there, I highly recommend going back and just, you could even put it in all metal. Well, if you're hunting with, I think, does the AT Gold have a true all metal mode? Not zero, but true all metal? Okay, yeah, it's like the Max. The Max has a true all metal mode too. And I like going back when I go back to those, and oh my gosh, I get tired of digging iron, but you'll be surprised what's hiding under some of that iron sometimes. Really shock you. So Amanda, like she just said in chat, her and I worked a little iron patch when we were up in New Hampshire last year, and we both pulled some really cool finds out of that iron, plus some really cool iron relics as well. So you never know what you're going to find by digging it all. So if you pretty much think you've hunted out a site, I'd go back to those sites, and I know you know that as well. Like what you just said, just dig it all. and you'll be surprised what you find. So.
Yep. And if there's if newcomers are listening, like I've probably hunted maybe 10 times with the Equinox 900. That's my newest machine. I like it. But if you're a newcomer and you have numbers, my also rule of thumb is if it's chattery, dig it anyway, right? But if I'm really honing in on something that I'm looking for, and it's all, the luck of the swing to me anyway. But that if you have a numbers showing machine, my rule of thumb is a variation between the numbers, 6 numbers, but I'll dig 8, right? So if I want to be sure about a particular type of metal, I have been lately just focusing on the difference between the numbers, 6 numbers, 8 numbers. And then one of the things I really like to encourage is once you pinpoint that thing with your detector, okay, and you got it right under the middle of that coil, switch it back to the setting, not the pinpointer, and just wiggle it, right? Like a lot of people say, do the wiggle. Well,
yep.
Because sometimes you might get this really cool, like, and like I said, I'm still learning the knocks, like, an 81 to 92, 81 to 92. And it's so big, then what you're looking for, what the detector is doing is it's looking for the most conductive part of that. So sometimes you're getting part of that halo that's around that, and it's not really pinpointed. At least I do, so I just practice that.
That's such a good tip right there, because it varies per machine, how the machine will react. And I call them, a lot of the times in my videos, I will call them jumpy targets. It may not settle on one number, but it'll be an iffy signal or a jumpy. Iffy meaning it just won't settle. It's still most of the time repetitive signal, but it'll be jumping from, low to high. Sometimes it'll be a piece of iron beside a good target or over a good target, but you'll still get a repetitive. And sometimes those are some really nice surprises, aren't they, Dee?
Yeah, well, Grizz had given me a tip because he's hunted, quite a bit in Virginia. And he says that, if you dig the iron, it's going to give you a clue at what's there. So if you're digging like shell frags, right, a lot of times what he would do, and this is a great tip, is if you're in a lot of iron, but you're getting frags, maybe a few plow points or whatever, that just get underneath it. He used to dig a 4-foot square, right? And then once you pull that iron out, a lot of those goodies are underneath the frags. Great tip. Thanks, Grizz.
100%. Great tip. Well, we got off to a late start today, but unfortunately we've reached, it's already closing time for the night, so people can hop on the next podcast. But how can people find you, V? Can they find you on some social media platforms?
Just Facebook, Victoria Rhine. I have a public Facebook page. I post all my stuff there and a few groups, North Carolina Dirt Detectives, Central Virginia Relic Recovery, and a couple of other ones. But usually I post everything right there on my page, and I'll get notices if someone wants to friend me. And so I just do that because I'm getting old.
No, you're getting younger. We're all getting younger. Well, V, it's been a pleasure having you on. I know we'll have to have you on again because I know you've got some amazing stories, too, that we still didn't even touch on tonight. We kind of got off to a late start with our echo, but I'm glad it kind of worked its way out. I know Amanda was working hard to try to fix that, so we appreciate Amanda. And anyway, just wanted to thank you for being on here, and I look forward to seeing you very soon, V.
You know it, sis.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet you. Safe travels there, and I'll see you on Thursday.
That
We'll
sounds
see
like
you
a
all
real
on the
good
next.
plan. Yep.
Awesome.
See you
You
on
all
the
have a good
next.
night. All right, V.
Thank you for having
Thanks,
me,
boss.
y'all. I appreciate it.
We appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
All right.
Well,
Well,
thank you all. You all have a good night.
good night, everyone.
Good night.